Game, James Worthy. We got Tough Juice, Caron Butler. He is a former champion. We got Allie Clifton. We got Mike Trudell, and Brez will be joining us soon. The Lakers, guys, are just 2 wins away from NBA championship title number 17. And as Kobe Bryant said back in 2009, the job is not finished. The Lakers in control, leading the Heat 2-0. Here's the best of the sound from both sides.
You know, obviously being in high school and watching the Kobe-Shaq duo, it was the most dominant duo that I have personally seen in my life from a basketball perspective. The size and the power and the speed that Shaq and his size play with. You can look at my game and then you look at the elegance and the ability to shoot the ball and the ability to play in the paint as well, post up, get to the perimeter. I guess you can say that you can have some of AD's game that can compare to Kobe's game in that sense.
He's Kobe because he handles the ball, and I'm Shaq because I play in the post.
I can't even believe that we, up here talking about myself and AD with Kobe and Shaq.
This is a very resilient basketball team that we're playing, a team that just flew through the East with a 15-3 record, 12-3 record. It's been a long night.
What is it about your group that can overcome what the world thinks is an impossible mountain?
We don't give what everybody else thinks.
Regarding Anthony, he's often credited your feedback with helping him, stay aggressive. What's your message with that?
For every game, I tell him to score 75 points. He falls short. He's fallen short a couple times.
We got to play damn near perfect in order to beat those guys over there. Whatever it takes to win. You guarantee me a win with me playing 48 minutes, I'll take it.
What's that?
One more. We'll have Dennis Freeman. Sorry, Raja.
So the Lakers have embraced that Mamba mentality of job not finished. With the fans and everyone else, though, it just seems like this is a foregone conclusion. But the Lakers have remained focused. And as you know, James, that is the most important part. Because everyone's just thinking about that championship.
No.
Can't do it.
You know that was your goal at the beginning of the year. You've never lost track of that. Now you're you're knocking at the door. You're right there where you need to be after overcoming everything over the season, a few injuries here and there. Teams that were supposed to be, built to beat you. You've overcome all of that. So I think they're right where they want to be. And with LeBron James' leadership, they're extremely focused right now. AD, Caruso, you can see the whole team. And it's like a golf terminology to me. It's 4 days of golf. It takes 4 games to win a championship. The first game, you checking out the course. First game in the NBA, you kind of looking at the team. Second game, you make adjustments. Third day, it's moving day. And that's what it is today. It's moving, Miami Heat right out of the way with a 3-0. You don't want to give a 2-1. You don't want to give any injuries to come up or any pop up or nothing like that. It's moving day. Move them on out of the way so you can celebrate in Game 4. That's my opinion. That's my strategy.
Yeah, I think it's not a matter of if, it's just a matter of when. And I think that the Lakers done a remarkable job, to Big Game's point, and to just ushering them out the way. Making sure that they're not feeling any sense of confidence, not putting their guard down with not having 2 of their leading scorers out there. I think that's huge. Just, just taking it straight to them. And LeBron just been, laser focused with his leadership, along with Anthony Davis.
Yeah, you see Rondo throwing it up to AD right there. He's been pretty dominant, hasn't he, big game? AD?
I mean, obviously there are 2 MVP candidates in the finals here. If things go the way we want them to go and the Lakers go ahead and do what they're supposed to do, he's answered the bell. From beginning of the season until now, he's answered the bell, particularly in the playoffs, is why we bought him here. He stepped up every corner he's turned, dominating. And, I think, 31 and 11 or something like that, and the rebound and shooting a high percentage, knocking down his free throws, blocking shots, affected the game in all phases. That's what they do.
Caron, you mentioned the injuries to the Heat. Bam was hoping to play. He's going to be gone. Goran Dragic, he will be gone. So they are not playing in Game 3. Listen, I'd be lying to you if I didn't say it didn't take the wind out of the sails a little bit. It's been a bummer, but we've seen time and time again in the NBA Finals, key guys get hurt. I mean, you saw Klay Thompson last year, Kevin Durant. You've seen it with Kyrie Irving, Kevin. You've seen it to superstar players, and this hurts the Miami Heat. But the Lakers, they can't worry about that stuff.
Look, you cannot care about the injury component to opposing player right now at this point. You have to capitalize on the opportunity that you're fortunate to have. Now look, 2011, I was one of the top leading scorers on the Dallas Maverick team. Nobody felt sorry for us when I went down with an injury, and that's what you've seen in the past, with the Toronto Raptors last season alone. Kevin Durant goes down, Klay Thompson goes down, and they just stuck to the protocol, stayed true to the mission, walked away with a championship, and there you have it. So I think you got to stay true to that.
James, you've seen it a couple times. I mean, you saw it in 1989 with Byron and Magic when you were playing the Pistons. You guys were undefeated going into that final. You saw it with yourself when you played the Bulls in 91.
I mean, it's part of the game.
Yeah.
Sometimes it happens, in preseason. Sometimes it happens in the middle of the season. Unfortunately, when it happens in the playoffs, that's the most unfortunate, and there's nothing you can do about it. But I have to say, based on what I've seen the Lakers do thus far in the playoffs, particularly in the Denver series, withstanding game number 2. That could have been a momentum changer. But what they've overcome, with the Rockets and, Denver, and what I saw in game 1, I don't think, and I'm being a little arrogant here on my part, I just don't think Miami, with a healthy squad, maybe they might get one game.
Well, they were down 30.
Bam,
they were down 30.
I just didn't see it. I thought the Lakers they've taken care of the toughest challenges, I think. And Miami, I don't think they would have had a chance.
I agree. Game 3 of the NBA Finals coming up at 4:30. For the latest, let's check in with the Lakers reporter, Mike Trudell.
What's happening, guys? Totally fair there, big game, right? The Lakers, when they brought their A game all year, nobody was at that same level as they were. 4-1 in each of the Western Conference rounds, and then, of course, you saw how they controlled Game 1 of this series leading into Game 2. And now here we are at Game 3. You guys did such a nice job of painting the broader picture. I want to get into the minutia a little bit with Frank Vogel. And if you look at Game 1 versus Game 2, what was the big difference for the Lakers versus the Heat? Miami getting to the free throw line. Happened a lot in Game 2 after they let them to get there only 14 times in the first game. Well, Jimmy Butler himself got there 12 times in Game 2. So that's where we started with Frank Vogel. What kind of adjustment can they make from that standpoint?
Well, we got to keep Jimmy off the line more than anything. He's obviously great at attacking the basket and initiating contact and getting himself to the free throw line. We got to be more disciplined on contact. For us offensively, we're moving the basketball really well. We set some kind of records about numbers of passes against the zone. The ball movement was outstanding. We just got to make sure that we're attacking the paint enough so we can get to the free throw line as well.
Coach Spoelstra just confirmed that there's going to be no Bam or no Dragic again in this one, Frank. Is there a certain level of just competitive disappointment that goes with that as much as you separate that from the game plan?
Yeah, I don't really invest in that. I just honestly, I identify with who's going to be on the floor and how do I beat them. I don't really have an emotional reaction to whether guys are in or out. I know the guys that are going to be playing for the Miami Heat are capable of beating us tonight, and I just keep my focus there.
Frank, you didn't have Rajon Rondo in the first round, and his stretch of basketball basically since you got him back up into Game 2, where it might have been his best game of the playoffs, has been a big part of your success. Do you buy into the whole playoff Rondo thing, and just how important has he been to this run up to this point?
He's been vital to this, to our run up to this point. There's no question about that. We're not here without him playing at such a high level. I personally don't really like the playoff Rondo thing because it implies that he's not good in the regular season, and he's been good for us all year. Obviously the great players are going to play their best in the playoffs. That's no different with Doe. And, but like I said, he's been consistent and really good for us all year.
All right, guys, I especially like that second answer from Frank Vogel. You cannot get him off of his focus, right? Doesn't matter who's in, who's out. He's preparing the best game plan possible to try to get a win that night. That's it. That's the only thing on his mind. And so for tonight, that's Game 3 against a Bam-less and Dragic-less Miami Heat.
All right, thank you, Mike. Appreciate that. Plenty more ahead here on Access Sportsnet. Lakers, KCP getting warmed up in the bubble. The Lakers let it fly in Game 2, setting an NBA record with 47 three-point attempts. KCP took 11 of them. We're coming back with more after the break, but first, a playoff classic from the Mamba.
Bryant with the save.
Oh, you got to get a shot here.
Final seconds. Bryant for the win. Bang! Kobe Bryant at the buzzer in overtime gets the win for Los Angeles. And the chance of him being
4-0. That's pretty special. So basically, when the refrigerator is closed, it is absolutely closed. Now for more, let's check in with Allie Clifton and her good friend, Richard Jefferson.
Geeter, her good friend. Isn't it funny that you don't claim him also? I mean, nonetheless, it's live from the bubble, ESPN's very own Richard Jefferson. And Richard, it's been a while since we talked last, though you were in the bubble. So what day is this for you? Have you lost your mind yet?
I have no idea what day it is. I don't know where we're at. All I know is that we are 2 games away from a Lakers sweep. You can't hear me?
All right, there, I think you are back.
Mic check, mic check. Mic check, mic check.
One thing I will say is that I'm going to give you a pass. This is live television. I'm not sure what just happened there, but I know you've got a lot going on in the bubble. You launched your new show, The Sports Gap. Of course, you learned how to play pickleball, which God bless the referees for having patience with you. But I think your most important task is to follow that of LeBron James, which includes dissecting his Twitter messaging. So I'm going to ask you this. When you see this from LeBron on Twitter, when your vision is crystal clear, they say it's razor sharp. A focused mind is said to be like a knife, but the scalpel is wisdom. All one can do is accept that life is a double-edged sword. Stay on the edge. Richard, what on earth is LeBron talking about? What should we anticipate from him here in Game 3?
I have no idea. Look, at the end of the day, comprehension is not a prerequisite. Is not a prerequisite at all for cooperation. And so that basically means I don't know what he's saying, but I'm on board. Whatever's got this man locked in, ready to go, I'm just right behind him following his lead.
Maybe your new show shouldn't have been Sports Gap. It should have been Deep Thoughts with Richard, literally taking us into the Matrix. Good line there. But I know you are on text chains with him on the daily. Isn't he tired yet? Hasn't he slowed down?
I'm in the shot. I am.
No, nobody's slowing down. When you're so close to your goal, think about it as running a marathon. You don't get tired in the last couple hundred yards. That's when you lock in more. That's when you're focused even more. And I think the good thing about him is he gives a calm to this entire team. You've seen him getting on guys as they're finishing games, going into the locker room not happy with the way they finished the last 5 minutes, even if they won. He's forcing that edge on these guys, and these guys are responding. And I'll stand by this. Even guys like Anthony Davis are helping to raise his game. So he's out there playing at a high level because he sees his teammates stepping up also.
How about another guy who is doing just that? He's a former teammate of yours in Rajon Rondo, and he's leading the bench for the Lakers. It's been impressive all postseason long. What are you seeing from the Lake Show in their second unit?
Well, I love the second unit, and especially when, you know, it's been done by committee. You have LeBron and you have Anthony Davis, but ultimately the committee has been KCP, Alex Caruso, Kyle Kuzma. And so when you have Danny Green and KCP struggle, but you go to your bench and then Morris shoots the ball well, Alex Caruso shoots the ball well, you're getting contributions for your bench. If the Lakers shoot 40% from 3, I don't know if there is a way to beat them because they already have that size and their one question is shooting, but guys have been stepping up over the course of this postseason.
Look, you gave me an inside look into LeBron James and basically the Lakers at that. But I got to ask you about Miami. And my crew, they put me up to this, so please forgive me. But they reminded me that you were once down 0-2, back in 0-2 to the Lakers. And the other night, LeBron and AD were compared to that of Shaq and Kobe. So what were you feeling when you guys were down 0-2 that maybe the Miami Heat are channeling right now?
I'm going to tell you the God honest truth. We played against Shaq at the end of their three-peat. So I've lost weight in my first time in the finals. And a lot of these players in the Miami Heat are in their first finals. And the biggest difference was Shaquille O'Neal. The size that they had, we just could not match. Like, Shaquille was the most dominant player on the planet. So when you really break it down, this Lakers team has the same type of components, a dominant perimeter guy and a dominant big man.
Though the Lakers look great right now, there is no one that will ever replicate that of the Diesel. So I apologize for putting you on the spot and bringing up that memory. But before we let you go, Richard, I need some clarification on your series prediction. Because before the series even started, you had Heat in 7.
Yes.
Yeah, Laker Nation, he said Heat in 7. But then after game 1, you had Lakers in 3. So where are we?
Yes. Well, right now we're either Lakers in 4, just because apparently you need 4 games to win, regardless of the way it goes, or I'm going to pick the Heat in 9 or 11 once they get Goran Dragic and once they get Bam Adebayo back. So whatever odd number we have to get to for the Heat, but I'll stand by this, and this is for Geeter and for whoever else is in the studio with you.
James and Karan.
I'm just out here trying to motivate. I'm trying to motivate. Trust me, James, Karan, whoever it is, they know what I'm doing. Bron hears me when I say Heat. He hears me when I say Nuggets. So does Dwight. So does Rondo. All of those guys. They say they don't hear, but they hear. And I'll be the only person out there picking the Heat just to piss them off.
The Heat in 9 and Laker Nation, they hear me when I say, you're not my friend, you're Geeters. Geeter, get your guy under control. Richard, we appreciate your time always. Enjoy the game.
He could end up at the top of the leaderboard before the series ends. You got Robert Horry, big shot, at 22, and big game, your teammate right behind you there, Coop, at 25. That was in 1987, the year you guys beat the Celtics in 6 games to win the NBA championship. And the Caruso legend grows with fans, and when we see stats like that, with all of the peers and everyone else that covers him, loves him as well. He's turning into an elite defender, James, especially with this team.
And, the thing about it is, like, he's just doing it by doing basic fundamental basketball. That's what I love about it. You can tell that in practice, that in the drills that they do defensively and all that stuff, that he is on point. He knows how to stunt into the lane, disrupt, get back. He knows how to anticipate shots where he can block. He plays the vertical rule very well. He gets over screens where you don't have to help as much. He anticipates very well, and I'm sure he studies all of his opponents because he's very good at anticipating what they're going to do, what their strengths are. All of a sudden, you might see him jump on the other side of the ball because he knows that's his strength, and he forces them away. He's an extremely smart basketball player at an early stage of his career, Karan.
Yeah, very seldomly do you see blow-bys with Kuz. That's because he pays attention to what you stated, big game, film. Yeah. Studying the tendencies of the players that you're guarding and some of the tendencies of the players that you're not guarding, and being in the proper spaces where you're supposed to be, to stab at the basketball and get back and just be disruptive.
Karan, I want to stay with you, and I want to talk Rondo. He has been absolutely fantastic, especially against the zone and the way he dissects it.
He's a true point guard, inside out. I love the fact that he's always attacking or getting the zone to move. And that's the tough part of it. Traditionally, when you see a zone defense, everybody goes away from their offense. They're standing around, they're ball watching. But I love about Rondo is that he's getting into the teeth of the zone. He's getting it back outside. If you give him the open opportunities, he's connecting on the outside shot. And he's just penetrating and just keeping that zone moving and always finding the blind spots in the zone. And I love the fact that sometimes with Anthony Davis or Rondo or LeBron, you have the best playmakers in all of basketball inside that zone making the decisions.
I love what James said the other day, that if all the coaches just left the bubble, he'd still feel good because Rondo would be leading the charge. He's like, it's like having a coach. And then, James, when you look at that, but then also what he's doing for this team and what he's adding, you look at his 3-ball. From the wing, his hot spot, 11 of 18, James. We're going to show his little shot chart and what he's been doing. Pretty incredible numbers right there. Red hot is what that means, big game.
Cooking.
I mean,
cooking.
We talk about him only, coming back to the bubble after being off 6 months. He had some really nagging injuries, hand injury, a couple, one after the other. What we haven't talked about a lot about, I saw him, early with his shirt off. This brother got in such great shape. He is in shape, better than I've ever seen him. And they say he's been doing yoga most of his life.
Yeah.
And so he's always been in perfect shape. He came back in greater shape. And obviously, you know, with his knowledge of the game, all that came back to him. He had nothing holding him back, no nagging injuries, no extra therapy that he had to, you know. So you got 100% healthy Rondo in better shape. And like you said, Gita, came back a better three-point shooter. Amazing.
Yeah, you saw that hot spot at 11 of 18. Pretty incredible from that wing. And Karan, Laker Nation, it's okay to say, I'm sorry to Rajon Rondo, because caught a lot of flack.
I've been saying that
over the last 2 years. I know.
Yeah,
it's time for you to tell everyone right now.
Braz, where you at, Braz?
Has the vibe?
Braz, where you at?
Hey, the vibe has switched quickly, hasn't it?
Oh, yeah, Rondo's my guy. Yeah, he was my guy before he was your guy. He was your third cousin. He was my first cousin. Blood. I'm just putting it out there.
Third cousin that you never met? Now he's everyone reminiscent of Kobe and Shaq. In fact, LeBron and AD have the exact same win percentage as the Diesel and the Bean had in the 99-2000 season. How about that, when combining for 60 points? And both LeBron and AD spoke about being in the same conversation as two Laker legends.
You know, obviously being in high school and watching the Kobe-Shaq duo, it was the most dominant duo that I have personally seen in my life from a basketball perspective. Hadn't seen, obviously, we knew the force that Shaq brought to the table, but the elegance and force that Kobe played with as well. They were very dominant in what they did on the floor, on both sides of the floor. So to be in a conversation with those two guys, myself and Anthony, or myself and AD, he's going to kill me. Myself and AD, it's just very humbling because, I mean, I know I grew up watching those guys. I grew up admiring Kobe, obviously, for, you know, kid coming straight out of high school. So, you know, admired that kid that was young and got the opportunity, and obviously the force that Shaq played with. So just very humbling, and we're happy that we can be even mentioned with those greats.
That duo is special together. You know, the best duo we've seen. Multiple championships, but they both were so dominant. Those two guys were selfless. You know, they both had a competitive spirit within themselves to build their teams to win. And I think, you know, me and Bron's the same way. You know, when you got two guys that's selfless, and you know, it's not gonna always be, you know, pretty. You know, sometimes we're gonna argue. Sometimes, you know, we're gonna have disagreements, but we know it's coming from the right place. But when you got two guys who you know, want to win as bad as we do and want to be dominant every single game, it's rare you see it. We know we have something special with us two and with this team. We just try to, you know, capitalize on it.
Big Game, you mentioned all the great Laker duos going back to Jerry West and Elgin, and then Wilt and Kareem and Magic, and LeBron and AD just fitting perfectly in line, especially with Kobe and Shaq, drawing the comparisons, that same winning percentage when they score 60 or more points. Pretty crazy. And they really do complement each other so well, just like Shaq and Kobe did. Like the perfect pairing, you know?
What they've been able to conjure up in only one season. You know, if they stay together for 2 or 3 more years, then we can talk about, you know, the Shaq and Kobe comparison and Kareem and Magic. We definitely, like, honorable mention, obviously, that's what we're talking about right now. Because of this 1 year, they're honorable mention to be compared with some of those guys if they continue the madness. Obviously, I'm campaigning for them to stay together for.
Yeah, I see what you're doing.
I'm campaigning for them to stay together for.
Put James in the room with the pitch. Yeah, he's got pitch. He's pitching.
Without getting caught. But anyway, yeah, they're definitely in that category. Yeah. You know, all the duos that you mentioned, they're right there.
You like that quote, James, from AD? He's Kobe because he handles the ball, and I'm Shaq because I play in the post.
It's funny. AD handles the ball.
I know, he really does.
And he shoots the three.
Yeah, it's funny.
All the other dudes didn't do that.
Yes.
You know, Kareem.
Different game, right?
That's different game. Point. But yeah, that's why they bring a different dimension to the category.
Different method of attack too. You know, when you look at the dynamic duos of the past, and to see the way that they dominate these teams from all over, all different regions of the court. It's special to watch because LeBron, even though he has a physical presence inside, the way that he scores in the paint, lack of getting fouls called because of his physical physique, but still being able to play through that. Anthony Davis being a 7-footer and possessing that ability, outside, inside, all those things, it's just like, this is a unique pair.
Yeah.
I haven't seen anything like this in quite some time.
Isn't it crazy, though, Karan, the ability for this franchise? And you spend a little time here, but you have a lot of Laker love. You and Kobe being one of your best friends. Just the ability to have superstar duos for 50, 60 years is pretty incredible.
Man, all the way from Jerry West to Big Game, Magic, Kareem, every great player that had some real equity in this league, sweat equity, have come through this organization. So I think when you talk about some of the greatest guys ever to play this game, and you talk about the Mount Rushmore of hoopers, the only guy that I don't think put on a Lakers uniform is Michael Jordan.
The only one.
He's the only one.
Crazy, right? You know what else is crazy? I don't know if you guys are into this stuff. We talk a lot about it around here. The Lakers were wearing their Mamba jerseys the other night.
Know what time that is.
They haven't been beaten. It's winning time. 81st point, of course, it's scored by LeBron James. 8:24 remaining on the clock. Big Game, I know you love this stuff. So does the Laker Twitter world. Just all those reminders that Kobe, Gigi, with this team every step of the way.
And I believe in that kind of energy in the universe, okay? Because not only has it happened once, not only has it happened twice, it's happened about 7 times where 24, 81, whatever, it resembles Kobe has come up. So, that's the kind of spirit that he's left us. And it'll always be with us, man, especially this year.
Yeah, I'm a strong believer in that as well. When you talk about to be absent from the body in the physical sense, but that means to be present with God. And I just feel like that energy is there. I really do. I feel him all the time and his energy, and I know that the Lakers and his organization would always feel it. And they're playing with that extra amplified energy from a beyond presence.
No doubt. Lakers improved to 4-0 in their Mamba City Edition jerseys with their win and in Game 2 over the Heat. And there's no doubt that the Mamba is with the Lakers when they rock these. Take a look at the numbers. They score 120 points per game. That's 10 more than usual. They shoot 52% from the field, 39% from 3, and they're monsters on the boards with 43 per game. Now let's check in with Allie Clifton and our Laker insider, Mike Breslin.
That's right. Thanks so much, Geet. And of course, we say hello to you, Brez. And Brez, I know you have your eye on a couple of things when it comes to the Lake Show. And we begin with AD, dominant like the Diesel.
Yeah, I'd love to be in there right now, kind of continuing that conversation about 2 very good Laker big men. And the thing I'm really impressed about AD so far, he is shooting 63% in the NBA Finals. Got me thinking, a lot like Shaq back in 2000 against Indiana, probably Shaq's most dominant series ever. He shot 61%, so AD actually out-dueling Shaq, so to speak. We talked briefly about this on the post game the other night. AD has never won a major trophy